lesson I was studying the about the lecture style different between the Japanese and foreigners. So basically, I have three things to talk about. Oh shit. And first is about the teacher, second is student, third is about the structure of the whole of the lectures. Because I have experience to have the classes in foreign country, but I don't qualify any of that. Actually, only the two or threes, and I have like some other people some other foreign students, and have chance to hear about the lecture style in their home countries, and that's why I want to do this. And then sometimes, and we see the target. We want to see the target of this videos and messages like that to understand the difference between between Japan and other foreign countries. And but in this session is only focusing on the first and second grade students, and especially for the national university maybe. And of course, even if I think I will focus on the things, but there is some difference between the Japanese and foreign countries lecture style in the first place. That's why I take this video to them. So this is the target and lecture style, and I'll define more clearly. The lecture style is like the how you take the lecture, how the lecture is conducted by any countries, and then this lecture is limited to only the university lectures and things, and for like first and second grade students. And sometimes they held in a hall of a big class, and sometimes the lecture is held in a small 30 or 40 people class. And also, uh, my experience, I heard some knowledge or information from other countries, especially for advanced country like Europeans and emerging Asian developing countries and China's and so on. So this is like our source of information. Then what about it? Yes, this is like we're talking about. And then I want to introduce move on my substantives. My first is about teacher, and of course, as you know, if you have like the experience to have lecture experience in Japan, then all of that teacher is like a dictator, by tradition. For like from the elementary school and junior high, and especially for the high school, the teacher is like dictators that make the directions, and this is it seems like the whole of a leader in this class. They try to take the whole of dictatorship inside the class. They make a direction like to make children and students silence, to make children silent inside the classes, and then don't allow to using cell phones and other things, and of course they don't allow to chatting and having snacks and drinking, or like to arrange their hairstyles or so. um and if the students want to go to the toilet, it is not their like, it's not it is not allowed by their own pace. They have to make suggestion. They have to beg the allowance from the teacher. That's then on the first place. Then firstly they can go to toilet. But as no, it is also the same case in the university things, and most of the teacher is like to have one lecturer inside the whole class. Maybe you have sometimes you have like 230 people in the same classes, by in the like auditorium classes. So then the teachers have to have a strong dictatorship. If the students have chatting and sleeping is allowed because the students don't make any um the students don't make any the nuisance or don't offend other people. But if they chatting using the smartphone, and sometimes this action will be offend teachers' attitude towards class. On this case, of course, the teachers not allow the students to use their cell phones, and then sometimes during the class they point out that students are not to allow not to using the cell phones during the classes. This is like dictator, right? Whole of the right and whole of the social order, the class order, is belongs to the teachers. But compared to that, the following in other country, the class, the teacher is always like a facilitator. All of the like dictatorship, all of the rights, the main rights is dependent on the students, and the classes is going in harmony with the teacher and students. If students like spend 15 minutes about discussions or like a presentation in this class, the teachers also spend 15 minutes or 5 minutes to other reviewing whole of the reviewing of structures and to make point out the good things and bad things and improvements and make suggestions about improvement of the students. I think that in that case is and the student teachers is like a friend of one of the friends who have the more intelligent ability for compared to the students. There's no like dictators. They only make suggestions or like directions. Of course, they have some framework about the processing or progression of the inside the class, but basically they have only make a suggestion the content of the class, how the class is expanded. It depends on the suggestion or some like idea brainstorming of the student side, on side of students. So basically, the teachers can be facilitators, how to progress the classes. They are or they are sometimes older or talk students about. Next is like a discussion session, the presentation. Of course, they have some assignment, but basically, the students have more time to engage in participating in the same classes. And of course, they make a question, they make a suggestion. For example, like if if the teacher makes a summarization of the former classes at the beginning of the today's class, and then suggest that students have to make some have to be make some presentation, and after that they have discussion session about the certain topics based on their reviewing assignment. So after the discussion, teachers have pointed out one students or one groups to make summarization inside the discussion or times to share some findings inside the students, and then students take spread ideas and horror the classes, and teachers know and just advised and to arrange the informations that will came from the students inside of that. So based on that, it was like always like that. I don't know how to say. The next, yes. In that case, it's like a facilitator, the MC, main facilitator of the in our cases, and individual more. And for the students, I said that this is for Japan, the lecture side is like that. One-sided from one teacher to 200 to 300 students in one classes. So that case is that teachers always talk about the one-sided things. They have, of course, they have only a few chance to make a question, to have to require suggestion from the students. They're always like to broadcasting like a TV show. There's no interactions between the students and teachers, of course, especially for during class. And sometimes teachers require some teachers require some question from the student, but it is really difficult for the student side to make um some questionnaire about to suddenly participate in class. It is a little bit difficult to starting about it, and also yeah, it's just a little bit wait for that. Wait for that. Listening. So students are basically try to are forced to have listen about the lecture of all the teachers, and they have sometimes no time to engage in the class because they have only the chance to be listening to classes. But compared to that, and in the following classes, students basically have the chance to be speaking about themselves because they have the discussion, and after the discussion, of course, during the discussion, students have to think and express their opinions more openly, and how they feel so great, and so they have to express their opinions about certain topics, about other person's opinions. Basically, so they are forced to go basically yes, shared opinions, of course, speaking, and sometimes, I think that for them it is easier to make a question for the uh for the for the teachers because they are always talking about some things about that, and their burden, their barrier to speak out is also like not so stronger. No barriers, no the inertia is also really weak. I think that the students are more easier to be speaking and speaking of opinions during the first step is inside the friends, and the second step is inside the class. Third step to the teachers. So this is layered structures can be better, more easier for students to express their opinions in the first place. That's why the speaking session is also better for them. And I don't make any like the value judgment about it. Yes, third. Structure. One layer and multiple layers. And as I already told you, that's the basically Japanese lecture style is one teacher and the vast majority of students. Their lecture can be only one-sided, and students should be a listener in whole of the class inside the whole class, and the teachers have to be the directors and the speaker in the whole of the class. It is only one-sided. There is no chance to be interacted with each other. That kind of structure and one-layer structure can't be changed inside the classes, I think. But for the foreign countries class, the students also can be the speaker. The teacher also can be the listener because they have some discussion and sharing times, and the students have to spend like opinions. Sometimes they can be a lecturer, sometimes they can be share the opinions, and they can be like other foreign peoples. No. Sometimes they can be professors who have their own like hypothesis, who have their own like express their results. So in that case, is the structures inside the class can be the more multiple, and in considering the like considering the like all of the mixture of this each structure, the whole of the way of layer can be more like 10 times or 20 times, and they acted with each other. Each students have their own sense of ownership to participate in the like certain classes. Now, I think there's less chance to be excluded from the classes because they have their own sense of ownership. That's why the lecture style is totally different, I think. As well for